Finding good movies isn't easy these days. In recent years, there's not much worth watching coming out, so we gotta go back in time and search for those hidden gems among tons of trash. I mean, sure, you could rewatch those movies everyone knows, but why do that when you can discover something interesting that's not super famous? Today, we're doing exactly that. You're on the Film Mix channel. Enjoy! Melancholia. Lars von Trier, this Danish director known for his provocative and psychologically intense work, made Melancholia as part of his so-called Depression trilogy, along with two other films, Antichrist and Nymphomaniac, inspired by the director's personal experience with severe depression. Von Trier uses an apocalyptic plot here as a metaphor to explore the human psyche. The film opens with this absolutely mesmerizing, almost surrealistic prologue scene shot in slow motion to Wagner's music. You see a series of symbolic apocalyptic images: a bride in a wedding dress sinking in water, birds falling from the sky, planets colliding. These shots set the tone for the entire film and hint at its ending, but remain mysterious for now. The story itself is divided into two parts, each focusing on one of the sisters, Justine and Claire. The first part, Justine, begins with her lavish wedding to Michael at an estate owned by Claire and her husband John. But from the very beginning, it's clear that Justine, despite outward joy, is deeply unhappy. Her depression shows through her strange behavior. She avoids guests, isolates herself, loses interest in what's happening. The guests, including her cynical mother and eccentric father, only make her condition worse. Gradually, the wedding turns into emotional chaos, reflecting Justine's inner turmoil. The second part, Claire, takes us several weeks forward. Justine, now completely consumed by severe depression, moves in with Claire and John. Meanwhile, we learn that a mysterious planet called Melancholia is approaching Earth, which scientists say will pass by safely but still causes growing fear. Claire, unlike Justine, is filled with anxiety for her family, especially her son Leo. As the planet gets closer, the sisters' behavior changes. Justine finds a strange calmness, while Claire increasingly loses control. The film's setup raises questions about how people face the inevitability of the end, and how their inner demons affect their perception of reality. Shot Caller. Trust me, this is truly a hidden gem, thanks to its uncompromising honesty and deep exploration of prison subculture, making it outstanding in the crime drama genre. Unlike more glamorous crime sagas like The Godfather, there's no romance here, just the harsh reality of prison gangs and their influence on life after release. So, California, present day. Jacob Harlan, this successful stockbroker, lives the perfect life with his loving wife Kate, son Joshua, and stable career. His world crashes in an instant when drunk driving leads to an accident that kills his friend. Sentenced to prison, Jacob enters the brutal world of California's prison system, where survival requires following gang rules. To protect himself, he joins a gang led by a ruthless leader nicknamed Beast and begins to change. He transforms from a soft family man into a tattooed gangster called Money, who's skilled at prison politics. After getting parole, Jacob receives orders from Beast to organize a major arms deal with the Mexican cartel. Torn between loyalty to the gang, the risk of a new sentence, and his desire to return to his family, he's trapped, where literally every choice leads to disaster. Meanwhile, the police and FBI, including Agent Kutcher, start hunting him, threatening to destroy his fragile hope for redemption. The plot unfolds as a dark crime thriller, examining how a person transforms under system pressure and the price of one mistake. An Officer and a Spy. A masterfully shot historical drama, combining an intense thriller with a deep exploration of morality, honor, and social injustice. Roman Polanski creates a captivating portrait of an era where personal struggle for truth collides with systemic corruption and prejudice. Paris, January 5th, 1895. In a military courtyard before a crowd of spectators, to the beat of drums, a young French officer named Alfred Dreyfus is publicly dishonored. He's accused of treason, passing secret military documents to Germany. Dreyfus, who's Jewish, undergoes a humiliating ceremony. They rip off his insignia, break his sword, and then send him to life imprisonment on Devil's Island, a remote prison in French Guyana. He loudly declares his innocence, but his words are drowned out by the crowd. The action shifts to Colonel Georges Picard, a French army officer who witnesses the degradation ceremony. Picard, recently appointed head of military intelligence, initially doesn't doubt Dreyfus's guilt, like most of his colleagues, but soon after, he begins to notice inconsistencies in the case. His investigation leads to the discovery of new evidence pointing to another officer, Major Ferdinand Esterhazy, as the real spy. Picard, a man of honor and discipline, faces a dilemma: follow his duty and expose corruption in the army, or submit to pressure from superiors who want to cover up the scandal to protect the institution's reputation. As Picard digs deeper into the investigation, he realizes the Dreyfus case isn't just a mistake, but the result of systemic anti-Semitism, political intrigue, and deliberate concealment of truth. His attempts to achieve justice face resistance, from threats by colleagues to public condemnation. Basically, it's an intense drama where Picard's personal struggle for truth collides with a powerful system willing to sacrifice an innocent man to maintain the status quo. Lawless, an authentic film with a strong atmosphere and powerful ensemble cast that brings the Prohibition era to life. Director John Hillcoat, working from a script by Nick Cave, creates a film that stands out for its balance between Western stylistics and historical drama. Welcome to Franklin, Virginia, 1931, height of the Great Depression and Prohibition. In a county nicknamed the wettest in the world for its abundance of moonshiners, the Bondurant brothers, that's Forrest, Tom Hardy, Howard, Jason Clarke, and Jack, Shia LaBeouf, run a thriving moonshine production and smuggling business. Forrest, the tough, charismatic leader, keeps their operations under control using the family's reputation as unbending bootleggers. Howard, prone to drinking but loyal, provides muscle, while young Jack, dreaming of luxury and in love with Bertha, a local preacher's daughter, tries to prove his worth. Their business, fueled by demand for illegal alcohol, attracts attention from corrupt federal marshal Charlie Rakes, who, acting on behalf of mob authorities, demands a cut of the profits and threatens violence. Forrest, proudly refusing to submit, declares war on Rakes, leading to escalating conflict with shootouts, arson, and betrayal. Meanwhile, Jack, wanting to take the family business to the next level, makes a risky deal with Chicago gangster Floyd Banner, while Forrest unexpectedly grows close to mysterious waitress Maggie, who's hiding her secrets. As violence increases, the brothers face threats not just from Rakes, but within the family, where personal ambitions and mistakes threaten their unity. The plot, based on Matt Bondurant's novel and the true story of the Bondurant brothers, unfolds as a crime drama about bootlegging, family loyalty, and fighting corruption in an era of lawlessness. Unknown. A dynamic and intriguing thriller that keeps you on edge thanks to Liam Neeson's charisma, Berlin's dark atmosphere, and multiple plot twists. Despite some logical inconsistencies and criticism for predictability, the film remains an exciting spectacle. Let's jump right in with our hero. Dr. Martin Harris, an American biotechnologist, arrives in Berlin with his wife Liz for a scientific symposium. At the airport, he accidentally leaves his briefcase with important documents. While Liz checks into the hotel, Martin takes a taxi to go back for his things. However, on the way, the taxi crashes and falls into a river. The driver, a young woman named Gina, saves Martin but disappears from the accident scene. Martin wakes up in a hospital after 4 days in a coma with partial memory loss, but he remembers who he is and why he came to Berlin. Returning to the hotel, he faces a shocking reality. Liz doesn't recognize him and claims her husband is another man, who also calls himself Dr. Martin Harris. And this other Martin has documents proving his identity and takes the real Martin's place at the symposium. The police and authorities don't believe the original Martin's story, thinking he's crazy, and soon he notices mysterious pursuers following him, even trying to kill him. In desperation, he seeks help from Gina, an illegal Bosnian immigrant working as a taxi driver, and Ernst Jürgen, a former Stasi agent specializing in finding people. Together, they begin to unravel the mystery, trying to prove Martin is who he claims to be. As they investigate, they face questions about who's behind this conspiracy, why his identity was stolen, and what's really hidden behind his trip to Berlin. Silver Linings Playbook. with a unique combination of romantic comedy, drama, and an honest look at mental health that makes it much deeper than typical rom-coms. Despite box office success, the film still remains underappreciated outside award season, making it a gem for those who value movies with heart and mind. The setup starts in Philadelphia in modern times. Pat Solitano, Bradley Cooper, a former school teacher, returns home after 8 months in a psychiatric facility where he ended up due to bipolar disorder and a breakdown triggered by his wife Nikki's infidelity. Having lost his job, home, and marriage, Pat lives with his parents, his superstitious father, Pat Sr., obsessed with football betting, and his caring mother, Dolores, trying to win Nikki back despite a restraining order. His obsessive idea of staying positive and getting his wife back leads to meeting Tiffany Maxwell, a young widow with her own trauma who struggles with depression and a reputation as a troubled woman. Tiffany offers Pat a deal. She'll deliver a letter to Nikki if he becomes her partner in a dance competition, which for her is a way to cope with grief. As they train, their complex personalities clash, creating an unexpected connection. But Pat's past, family pressure, and his unstable condition threaten to destroy the fragile hope for healing. The plot, based on Matthew Quick's novel, unfolds as a romantic film exploring love, mental health, and second chances through the chaotic lives of two broken people. Dogville, directed by Lars von Trier. A film combining elements of moral parable, theatrical production, and satire, creating a unique cinematic experience that's closer to philosophical reflection than traditional storytelling. Set in a small American town called Dogville during the 1930s, during the Great Depression. The town is presented on a conditional stage. Instead of full decorations, there's a black floor with chalk-drawn lines marking houses, streets, and even a dog. This stylization immediately emphasizes the artificiality of what's happening and makes us focus on the characters and their morality. At the center of the plot is Grace, a young woman who appears in Dogville running from pursuers. She's found at night on the outskirts of town. She's frightened, elegantly dressed, but clearly in trouble. Tom Edison, the local intellectual and self-proclaimed moral leader, is the first to meet Grace. She says she's hiding from gangsters, but doesn't reveal details. Tom, dreaming of transforming his sleepy town, offers Grace shelter, but with one condition: the residents of Dogville must agree to accept her. Tom gathers the townspeople and convinces them to give Grace a chance, despite their suspicion and fear of the outside world. In exchange for shelter, Grace agrees to work for the residents, performing small tasks, helping in the store, caring for children, and cleaning. At first, the townspeople treat her with cautious kindness, and Grace seems genuinely grateful. However, soon thin cracks in relationships begin to appear. The residents' goodwill turns into exploitation, and Grace finds herself drawn into a morally ambiguous game, where her virtue and vulnerability become objects of testing. Dogville's setup creates the feeling of a parable, a story about human nature, mercy, and its limits, unfolding in an isolated community, gradually revealing its true nature. The Imitation Game, a historical drama revealing Alan Turing's underappreciated heroism. The film excels with its emotional power. Benedict Cumberbatch delivers an Oscar-worthy performance, portraying Turing as an eccentric genius with touching vulnerability. And well, it's always nice to watch Keira Knightley on screen. We're in Britain, 1939. Alan Turing, a brilliant mathematician and cryptographer, receives an assignment from British intelligence to crack the code of the German Enigma machine, which makes Nazi messages unreadable. At Bletchley Park, a secret decryption center, Turing leads a team including Hugh Alexander and Joan Clark, but his unorthodox methods and antisocial character cause conflicts. Turing develops a prototype computing machine, a precursor to the computer, to speed up the code breaking, but faces pressure from the military, time constraints, and personal secrets. As the war escalates and Germans improve Enigma, Turing and his team work to their limits, balancing between breakthrough and failure. Flashbacks reveal his youth, friendship with Christopher, and traumas that shaped his genius. When the code is finally broken, Turing faces moral dilemmas about how to use the secret to win the war without revealing their success to the enemy. The plot, based on Turing's true story, unfolds as an intense biographical thriller about genius, sacrifice, and hidden truth. Drive My Car. And here's something newer. A masterclass in minimalism and emotional depth. Ryusuke Hamaguchi, one of Japan's leading contemporary directors, created a film based on Haruki Murakami's short story of the same name from the collection Men Without Women. But Hamaguchi significantly expanded the original, adding elements from other stories and a bit of his own vision. It opens with a prologue setting the emotional and philosophical tone for the entire story. We meet Yusuke Kafuku, a successful theater actor and director, and his wife Oto, a TV series screenwriter. They live in Tokyo, and their marriage seems harmonious, although it hides certain cracks. Oto creates stories during intimate moments with Yusuke, telling them to him, and he helps remember them. These stories become the basis for her scripts, but also hint at her inner world that Yusuke doesn't fully understand. One day he returns home earlier than usual and catches Oto with a young lover but decides to keep quiet, avoiding conflict. Soon after, Oto suddenly dies from a brain hemorrhage, leaving Yusuke in shock with unspoken questions. The prologue ends here, and the action moves forward 2 years. Yusuke, still grieving his loss, accepts an offer to direct Chekhov's uncle Vanya at a theater festival in Hiroshima. He arrives in his red Saab 900, which serves as his personal refuge where he listens to recordings of the play's text voiced by Oto. The festival organizer assigns Yusuke a driver, a young woman named Misaki Watari, due to strict rules prohibiting participants from driving themselves. Yusuke reluctantly agrees, as he doesn't like trusting his car to others. But Misaki is quiet, reserved, and quite a skilled driver, so cautious dialogue gradually develops between her and Yusuke. In parallel, Yusuke works on the production, encountering young actor Takatsuki, the very same who is Oto's lover. These interactions, in the car, during rehearsals, in conversations, become catalysts for Yusuke to sort through his past, loss, and the meaning of life. And I definitely should tell you about Knock, this hidden diamond with its brilliant combination of satire, comedy, and drama that brings the classic novel Knock to life with French charm. Despite modest box office earnings of about $20 million, the film has gained cult status among French cinema fans for its wit and Omar Sy's charisma, remaining an underappreciated masterpiece for those who value tragic comedies with satirical undertones. So, France, 1950s. A small town called Saint-Maurice, hidden in picturesque mountains. Knock, played by Omar Sy, a charming con artist and former pickpocket, is hiding from his dark past and creditors, deciding to start a new life. Taking advantage of fortunate circumstances, he gets medical education and arrives in Saint-Maurice posing as a licensed doctor, replacing the local physician. His plan is simple, but brilliant. Convince healthy residents they're sick and earn money treating imaginary ailments. With charisma, a gift for manipulation, and made-up diagnoses, Knock quickly gains the townspeople's trust, turning them into crowds of patients willing to pay for his miraculous methods. His success grows, and locals see him as a savior. However, the idol collapses when Knock falls in love with the mysterious Adeline, whose family starts asking questions, while his old friend from the criminal world appears threatening to reveal the truth about his past. At the same time, the village priest, envious of Knock's popularity, tries to undermine his reputation, seeing him as a competitor for influence. Knock has to balance between the con, love, and exposure, risking losing everything. The plot, based on Jules Romaine's satirical novel Knock or the Triumph of Medicine, unfolds as a tragic comedy about manipulation, human gullibility, and redemption through love. I'm sure you could add several more interesting films to this list. Be sure to do that in the comments below this video. It'll be helpful for me and other viewers scrolling through these comments. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and drop a like to support this video. Well, you've been on the Film Mix channel. See you in the next video.